Hello everyone, it's past 8 o'clock and welcome to another episode of Salt of the Earth, a program by Catholic Syro-Malabar Eparchy of Great Britain. We have been bringing you Life of Saints every week and we have been receiving hundreds of responses after every episode. And we really thank you for that. The regular viewers might be familiar with the program structure, but now for the new viewers, here is how the program is arranged. Please listen to the life of the saint carefully, take notes, and embrace it. Towards the end of the show, we ask you 5 questions. The first correct respondent will receive the prize. The format to send the answers is now on the screen. The number to send your answer is also on the screen. Please use the format question 1 to 5. Question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your full name and the name of your mission. Now, let's look at last week's questions and answers.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Salt of the Earth. Today we are talking about St. Catherine of Siena, who was born during the outbreak of the plague in Siena, Italy, on March 25th, 1347. She was the 25th child born to her mother, although half of her brothers and sisters did not survive childhood. Catherine herself was a twin, but her sister did not survive infancy. Her mother was 40 when she was born. Her father was a cloth dyer. At the age of 16, Catherine's sister Bonaventura died, leaving her husband as a widower. Catherine's parents proposed that he marry Catherine as a replacement. But Catherine opposed this. She began fasting and cut her hair short to mar her appearance. Her parents attempted to resist this move to avoid marriage, but they were unsuccessful. Her fasting and her devotion to her family convinced them to relent and allow her to live as she pleased. Catherine once explained that she regarded her father as a representation of Jesus and her mother as Our Lady and her brothers as the apostles, which helped her, obviously, to serve them with humility. Despite Catherine's religious nature, she did not choose to enter a convent, and instead she joined the Third Order of St Dominic, which allowed her to associate with a religious society while living at home. Fellow Dominican sisters taught St. Catherine how to read. Meanwhile, she lived quietly, isolated within her family home. St. Catherine developed a habit of giving things away, and she continually gave away her family's food and clothing to people in need. She never asked permission to give these things away, and she quietly put up with their criticisms. Something changed her when she was 21. She described an experience she referred to as her mystical marriage to Christ. There are debates over whether or not St. Catherine was given a ring, with some claiming she was given a bejeweled ring and other claiming the ring was made of Jesus' skin. St. Catherine herself started the rumor of the later in her writings, but she was known to often claim the ring itself was invisible. Such mystical experiences change people, and St. Catherine was no exception. In her vision, she was told to re-enter public life and to help the poor and sick. She immediately rejoined her family and went into public to help people in need. She often visited hospitals and homes where the poor and sick were found. Her activities quickly attracted followers who helped her in her mission to serve the poor and sick. St. Catherine was drawn further into the world as she worked, and eventually she began to travel, calling for reform of the church and for people to confess and to love God totally. She became involved in politics and was key in working to keep city-states loyal to the Pope. She was also credited with helping to start a crusade to the Holy Land. On one occasion, she visited a condemned political prisoner and was credited with saving his soul, which she saw being taken up to heaven at the moment of his death. St. Catherine allegedly was given the stigmata, but like her ring, it was visible only to herself. From 1375 onwards, St. Catherine began dictating letters to scribes. She petitioned for peace and was instrumental in persuading the Pope in Avignon to return to Rome. She became involved in the fractured politics of her time, but was instrumental in restoring the papacy to Rome and in brokering peace deals during a time of factional conflict and war between the Italian city-states. She also established a monastery for women in 1377 outside of Siena. She is credited with composing over 400 letters, her dialogue which is her definitive work, and her prayers. These works are so influential that St. Catherine would later be declared a doctor of the Church. She is one of the most influential and popular saints in the Church. By 1380, the 33-year-old mystic had become ill, possibly because of her habit of extreme fasting. Her confessor, Raymond, ordered her to eat, but she replied that she found it difficult to do so and that possibly she was ill. In January of 1380, her illness accelerated her inability to eat and drink. Within weeks, she was unable to use her legs. She died on April 29th following a stroke just a week prior. St. Catherine's feast day is 29th of April. She is the patroness against fire, illness, the United States, Italy, miscarriages, people ridiculed for their faith, sexual temptation, and nurses. Now it is time for us to find out what we have in the mystery box. In the mystery box, we have an icon of Our Lady of Perpetual Help with His Son. Icons always reminds us of dedicated prayer and also reminds us of the saints or whatever the picture it depicted. Normally icons are prepared using the person who prepared the icons fast, pray, and spend a lot of time to paint that icon. The dedication and prayer, everything is there. When we look at the life of Saint Catherine, we see the same. Her dedication, fasting, and steadfast prayer led her to sainthood. Likewise, we are all called to serve our Lord. No matter what we are at the moment, but we need to remember we are all called to be with Him, and we are all called to serve Him and proclaim the gospel. Now it is time for us to listen to the questions. The first question is, in which year was Saint Catherine of Siena born? The second question, Saint Catherine joined the Third Order of dash. Next, Saint Catherine petitioned for peace and was instrumental in persuading the dash in Avignon to return to Rome. The fourth question, for whom did Saint Catherine establish a monastery in 1377 outside of Siena? The last question, when is the feast day of Saint Catherine?
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you all.